click is all it takes to lose everything.
We are in a cyber war. You can either be a defendant or you could be a victim.
We often make cybersecurity a lot more complicated than it needs to be. And I hear clients all the time going, how do we secure the cloud? How do we secure mobile devices? How do we secure this technology? How do we secure that technology? To me, if you try to focus on securing a technology, you'll constantly be chasing your tail. You're never going to get it solved because as soon as you figure it out, boom, a new technology comes on the scene. The better approach is remembering that cybersecurity is always about two things: managing and mitigating risk, and your critical information and your critical assets. So first thing, be obsessed with your data. What are your critical assets? Where are they located? And who has access to them? If we did a better job of understanding and identifying where our critical information is, a lot of these breaches wouldn't happen. I'll tell you, these companies have servers accessible from the internet, and their critical data is sitting on the server. And when I do incident response and I tell them, you know what the response is? We didn't know. They have no idea where their critical data is. So if companies did a better job of understanding and identifying what their critical data is and isolating it, containing and controlling it, they would do a better job. Second, what are the risks to that critical data? Now remember, risks equal threat times vulnerability. So here's how you do it. I want you to take out a piece of paper and I want you to break it into 3 columns. In the first column, I want you to list what are your critical assets and the business processes that support them. Because remember, it's all about the business processes and servers. Now here's the trick. You only get 1 piece of paper, which means you can only write down 4 or 5 critical assets. I want you to prioritize. If you learn that one word, prioritization, that's how you win at security. Don't try to fix everything, only fix the top items. So what are the 5 or 6 most critical business processes tied to your critical data? That's the first column. Second column, what are the threats that have the highest likelihood of causing harm to your critical data? Notice, each column builds on the first. So first column, what is your critical data and business processes? Second column, what are the threats that have the highest likelihood of causing harm? Third column, what are the vulnerabilities that would allow those threats to have the biggest impact to your critical data? Now, once you have that third column with those vulnerabilities, that's your security roadmap. That was just did a mini risk analysis focused on your critical assets, tying it to risk. And the problem is security doesn't have to be hard. Often companies come up with these crazy, complex roadmaps that aren't really aligned with risk. So what is your critical assets? What are the threats? What are the vulnerabilities? And once you identify those top vulnerabilities, that is the driver for your security roadmap. And then one final piece of advice. If you want to win with security, before you spend $1 of your budget or an hour of your time on anything in the name of security, always ask yourself 3 questions. What is the risk? Is it the highest priority risk? And is your solution the most cost-effective way of reducing it? Because if we're focused on highest priority risk to our organization, we will be able to win and we will be able to stop the adversary.